What do we even mean when we say riff? Like, what makes something a riff versus it not being a riff?
Okay. For me, what riff really means is that you define it by the guitar part. And a riff doesn't have to be a guitar part. Like the beginning of Rock and Roll All Night, that drum pattern would be a riff. It defines the song, right? So if I do this, if I go... Anybody know what that is?
Let's see if they blow up the chat.
It takes about 30 seconds for them to for it to respond through back to us. But anybody know that riff? I'm going to play it again.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the delay.
Anybody?
Well, I know, but I don't want to say.
There they come. I can see them, yep. So you're right. It's Cat Scratch Fever. It's Ted Nugent. Let's see if you know this one, okay? Another open chord riff. Are you ready? Everybody's going to know this one. Right? There is something hugely powerful about open chord guitar riffs, man. It's what makes the 70s, and it's just, for me, it's the staple of core rock and roll is using those open chords like that.
Yeah, and a classic example would be AC/DC. If you look at, if you learn 3 songs, you just learned a bunch of open chord riffs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the kind of stuff, you know, like you probably grew up playing too, Dan, but that's the kind of stuff that I love. So it's easy to forget about those because we think of open chords and stuff as being so simple, but it's not always about how complex the song is. It's the riff that you come up with that defines the power of that song, whether you're making something mellow, because in Thunder Rock riffs there are some a little bit more mellowish things as well, but most of it is built on the power aspect of being able to do some stuff that's real defining in the rock and roll world. So
give us another example of something people might recognize with the open chords.
Okay. And then it kicks in. That was a little more obscure. You have to be a real AC/DC fan to know what that one is.
That's old school, dude. All right. Ted the Sledge. All right, so let's you know they have this delay, right? Because it's not real time.
Yep.
Give us another one, and then as you start going, they'll start being able to we'll see the answers going in.
Okay. All right. So let's do Here we go. Right?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from AC/DC when you play the open chords.
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry says "Whole Lot of Love." Yeah, same idea.
Yep, absolutely.
Are you asking? Are you requesting? Oh, Hell's Bells. Yeah, exactly. So, "Whole Lot of Love," is that an open chord riff?
Well, "Whole Lot of Love" is actually part 2 of what we were going to talk about, which
perfect segue.
Yep.
Perfect segue.
Chords. Now, we move from open chords, and we know that open chords become what we call open power chords, where we stop playing the whole chord and we just play a part of it. Well, that open power chord, which we talk about in Thunder Rock riffs too, but that power chord or that open chord becomes then a power chord. So when you're thinking of "Whole Lot of Love" and you've got Now, this kind of leads into the next segment as well, but let's just look at that for a second. What that song, Whole Lotta Love, has is a little single note riff, a power chord, and then the almighty palm mute. The palm muting for me just defines what I love about guitar playing. It's just that. Right? So when you've got all that kind of stuff, and that's what Whole Lotta Love is a power chord. And for those of you that don't know A Whole Lotta Love, I'm just playing 7 on the 6th string to 5 on the 5th string, and then doing it again. And then I'm playing the 7th fret of the 5th string, power chord, and then I'm chunking away on that 6th string. So you have right? So that's a power chord riff. Power chord riffs for me, like, I mean, let's take a look here. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. Let's say I was doing this. See if anybody knows this one. Here's the power chord riff. And again, we're going to break apart all kinds of different power chord riffs and then put them back together. And we're going to add single notes. We're going to add harmonies, different things like that. But let's just take a look at this one. See if anybody knows this. Anybody know that one? Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Black Sabbath. They're just easy power chords. We talk about punk stuff, you know, like Ramones. You have I see Joan Jett, I Love Rock and Roll.
So that would really fall more into the open chord.
Well, it's both, right?
It's all of it. It's all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is once you start learning how they work together, all 4 of these categories actually start. I mean, you can keep them separate, but they can certainly meld into one giant bowl of, you know, guitar stew, if you will, where you're just using all kinds of crap together.
This is the interesting part for me, Steve. You've broke the like, how do I say this? It's awesome that you can play and teach, because I can tell you not everybody can. Some people can teach but not necessarily play. Some people can play but not necessarily teach. In fact, a whole lot of people can play but not really teach what the heck they're talking about or what they're playing. The cool thing that what you're doing in this Thunder Rock Riffs class is you're taking, for example, that, what was it, Joan Jett?
Well, the last one was, yeah.
Yeah. And it's open chords, it's power chords, it's using scales, it's using little like scalular riffs type thing, and then she's putting it all together, right?
You bet.
And the cool part is what you're doing is, you know, you're taking each little segment and pulling them apart so you can study each thing on its own, which is awesome. So you can get your head wrapped around that, and then you can put it all together. The thing that happened for me for years is it just seemed like a bunch of random notes. It seemed like this huge song that was going to take me forever to learn, or try to write my own song, forget about that. But the cool thing that you're able to do is you can chunk it down to like these little granular levels that's easy to understand.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I mean, needless to say, that's kind of the whole thing. I started off as a guitar player who played, you know, I mean, there was a time when I was playing 6, 8, 10 hours a day, but I've taught for the last almost 30 years of my life, not because I have to, but because I really love teaching. There's something about the way I see music and the way I talk about music that seems to make sense to people. And so for me, it's just a blessing that I get to do that, because I like to talk about this kind of stuff. Like I just saw, I mean, if you could see what I see in my head, which is really the point of why I do this in the first place with GuitarZoom, is, you know, like I saw somebody write Scorpions, right? Then somebody wrote Iron Maiden. So we have no, sorry, I'm playing paranoid way too fast. There it is. Trooper. You'll notice that they use the same shapes. The Trooper and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Holy Diver and Rock You Like a Hurricane and all those songs use the same movement. And when I was younger, I didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand the key. I didn't understand modes. I didn't understand chords, all those kind of things. I saw shapes, like for you. Well, here's what I want you to remember about metal. The 80s style metal. Judas Priest, all that kind of stuff. Remember whole steps. 3, 5, 7. Or 1, 3, 5. Or whatever it might be. Okay? Not everything fits in there, but you'd be surprised at how much fits into just that idea. Okay? Now let me show you another really awesome shortcut. If I was to take those whole step movements and span it out one more fret, then I get yeah, exactly. There's a ton of Nirvana songs that use that, and it kind of defined the grunge sound. Was that they didn't want the whole steps because it was too metal, and they didn't just want. I mean, not that he wouldn't use. He'd use. There's an open chord song again, the open power chords I was talking about. So all of these songs are defined fairly easily by what you're seeing on the fretboard, and that's really, really important. Somebody else, which is the third category, by the way, somebody had mentioned Motorhead. So the third category for me is chord fragments. So sometimes you don't just want to play an open chord or a power chord, you want to play something a little more unique. Somebody mentioned Van Halen. This is totally... all that kind of stuff. If I was playing Motorhead, I was doing Ace of Spades, I'd have... Then it goes to A, then it goes back. So what I'm doing right there, everybody, is I'm just playing a power chord on the 7th fret of the 5th string, just like I was with Whole Lotta Love. But what happens is you're taking the 7th fret or the 9th fret of the 4th string, that note right there, and you're going to go to 8, and then you're going to go to 7. So you're going 7 on the 5th string the entire time. You're going from 9 to 8 to 7. And I know Dan is a Megadeth fan, so if I was doing Symphony of Destruction, if I went... there it is. See, bands like Megadeth and Metallica and those guys, they love these... I know.
What is that, Orion?
Yeah, Orion, yeah.
Dude, that's so old. That song,
look at this.
That was an instrumental.
Watch this. Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to do that, you might as well just... Okay, you already set me up, dude. Now you got to go...
Yeah.
Play it! I'm telling you, play. I want to hear it. What song is that?
Battery.
Oh, no. I was talking about the one that was on Master of Puppets, but it goes, man, where's my freaking guitar?
You're thinking of Damage Incorporated.
No, I'm thinking of... Is it Battery? No, it's not. Oh my gosh, help me out here.
Oh, you're not thinking of...
Yes!
Okay, well that leads us into the fourth category, which is note picking. So, yeah, watch this. Okay, so here's.
All right, go.
Okay, so here it goes.
Yeah. Dude, I played that when I was like 13. I thought I was the best guitarist in the world.
Listen, I grew up with all that. Some Green Day. Green Day. I used to play Green Day all the time. I just haven't played them lately.
Here's what I think about Green Day.
Yeah, I mean, again, what is that? That's a power chord riff.
Oh, dude, the little harmonic thing that you were just doing there reminded me of Hangar 18 at the very, very end. No, past all that.
Oh, no, I know. I don't remember what the end is, but...
Oh, that's what it was, Holy Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes! Dude, this is too much fun. You're taking me back to when I was like 16 years old in the garage days.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, dude. Okay, we totally got off track here. What were you even talking about?
My point to everybody is the songs aren't... I'm not saying that learning songs... I mean, most of you probably know my theory on learning songs. I mean, there's two different categories of songs you learn. You learn basic songs, which I call ego songs, which are songs that aren't hard for you to play in the bigger scheme of things, and they make you feel good, and you need songs like that. If you're one of those people that's always trying to learn songs that are really, really hard, you spend your whole life frustrated, and you don't want to do that. The other kind of songs that you learn how to play are called project songs, and project songs are songs that you need to spend more time with. You may not successfully learn the whole song. You might just learn a few measures of it or something like that. But project songs can propel you because you're doing something new, you know, like learning how to go... It takes time to learn how to do that. You got to develop. Now, like with Thunder Rock riffs, I talk about picking techniques, like learning how to pick. You know, we don't go into great detail of technique because it really isn't about that. It's about you learning how to create riffs by using either open chords, power chords, chord fragments, or single note lines, and then learning how to mesh. We talk about bands like Judas Priest or Thin Lizzy, which is another big one for me, Iron Maiden. You know, there's just a host of them. They use a lot of twin guitar stuff where you're harmonizing. And so we want to learn how to do stuff like that. You know, I can't do that with one guitar, obviously, but those are the kind of things that we talk about. So I know there's a couple of tracks on Thunder Rock Riffs where I write the rhythm track and then you play it, and then we just keep layering pieces on top. So we'll add a melody line, we'll add a harmony line, we'll add a third harmony line. You know, this is a really stupid story, but I'm going to tell you this because I don't tell it to very many people.
We're only telling it to like 400 something people right now.
When I first met him, his name is Steve Grimmett, and he's the singer for Grim Reaper, and he and I are best friends. He was the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding. And he lives over in England. I live here in America. We fly back and forth and see each other all the time. But when he and I first got together and started hanging out and went, you know what, we should write some stuff together. What I understood about writing was that I had to be as cool as humanly possible, so when I would write a song, it would have 478 guitar parts on it. So I would write these songs that were just chock full of all these things, and I would send them to him, and he'd call me and go, hey, you know, that's really cool, but where am I supposed to sing?
Yeah, exactly.
That's when I started learning about riffs. I mean, not that I didn't know about them, but I started learning that the point wasn't how much stuff you pack in there, it's what you do with the thing that you've got. You know. That's
so true.
And that's what Thunder Rock Riffs is all about, taking funk rock riffs and blues riffs. Like I use this one, a bluesy riff like this. So I'm going to show you this quick. I don't want to waste your time, but if you've got your guitar, and I know you're probably burning to try and play something, what I want you to do is play this. I want you to play 0 on the 6th string and then 3 and 4 on the 6th string. So you're going to go bum, ba-da. It's like a swing. Okay? And then you're going to go to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Right there. Okay? You can feel that swing in there. Now, somebody had mentioned Boston earlier. Boston does a song that uses this too, but it doesn't use the swing. But it's the same riff. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 5, 4, 2 on the 5th string with 0 on the 6th string in between each one, like this. So you have 2 riffs right there. And then... Hey, Scott, you got it. Yes, I'm so proud of you, man. That's right. It's Hey Baby. It's the riff. It's a riff style. Now, his is a little bit different, but it's the same kind of thing. Oh, I love that song. I'm so glad you got that, man. And Bert says, where do I start as a beginner? You start at the beginning with those open chord riffs. That's where you start. Okay. The intention of Thunder Rock riffs was not to make them overly complicating or difficult. That isn't the point. You can take all of that information that's in there and you can make it as hard as you want to. The point is dissecting how a riff is created and what to do with it. You are welcome to rob as many guitar riffs out of Thunder Rock riffs as you choose and write your own material. Okay? It is perfectly fine. The point was to take, you know, I'm not going to say they're all popular songs, but you take song ideas and you invert them. And you twist them and you turn them and you do all kinds of different things with them. Because the truth is that G chord and this D chord and this A chord has been played 85 trillion times. Mm-hmm. Nobody owns those chords, right? You can't throw the lick at the end, but you could go. People have done it a million times.
And you know what's funny, dude? I've noticed just being a musician, listening when I'm watching like a football game or something, if they'll have like a little intro where they're showing like a replay of something, instead of actually having the real song and paying the licensing fee on it, what they'll do is they'll have a brilliant musician like you change it just enough that the untrained ear goes, oh, I know that's a Green Day song. Yep. That's a Metallica song or whatever.
Absolutely.
But right. I'm sitting there going, oh, dude, that's so clever. It's so close, but it's actually not the song.
Absolutely. And that's the thing you have to understand, too. And I'm not going to go into preaching to you guys, but I want you to understand, like for me, when I was first learning how to play guitar, I was terrified of writing my own songs because I was scared that it belonged to somebody else. And then somebody, I don't remember who it was, came along and said, you know what? That's like being an artist and never studying art. You have to study art to understand what the great artists did to be able to paint or to be able to draw or whatever it might be. It's okay to look at those things. You're not taking the vocal melody, you're not taking the tempo, you're not taking the drum beat, you're not taking the bass line, you're not taking the guitar part. You're just learning how to riff. These power chords, like I just showed you, this 3, 5, 7 thing defines, I don't know, 70% of the metal that's out there from the 80s and that thrash style of music, because without it, it's missing its stylistic characteristic. If you're trying to play thrash metal and you're going, it's not going to sound like thrash metal. It's going to sound like a really fast country song or that's what punk is. Punk is taking major chords like the Beach Boys or whoever would use normal chord progressions like that, but just playing them faster.
Yep.
So that's the kind of stuff that we want to learn about, everybody, is learning how to utilize those. Somebody mentioned David Gilmour. I mean, think about it. If I played, oh man. Oh, here it is. That's a pentatonic scale. It's just a pentatonic scale. So, but it's constructed in such that it creates a riff. There's nothing dynamic going on in there, and I'm not making fun of it. I am a huge Pink Floyd fan. I'm just saying it's more about creativity than it is always thinking that you got to play faster, you got to add a lot of stuff. It's not. It's like, watch this. Somebody had mentioned scales, and to be honest with you, when I write stuff, I'm not really concerned about what key or scale I'm in. I just try and make stuff up and see what I come up with. Sometimes if I'm in a mellow mood, you know, I might be doing some sort of thing. But otherwise what I do is I try and think about, like, if I took this. I'm just going to take the note A on the 5th string. You guys can follow here. Okay, now I got to think of a tempo or a groove that I want to use. And I got to add something. So I might start using 4 and 5 on the 4th string. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try and make something up here. Now some other guitars in the background going, and maybe another guitar's going. So I'm thinking in layers, and that's what I talk about in rock riffs as well, but I think in layers. Instead of trying to make this one guitar part full of all these things, I just start trying to think, what's this thing that could breathe, like the Steve Grimmett story I told you, what could breathe, and then what could I put over the top of that to fill in some coolness, to start adding some other factors in there. How about riffs within a blues progression? Well, I mean, like if I was in the key of E, I could use the pentatonic scale. Maybe it starts off kind of quiet, right? Then it starts in. Now I got both going again. In my head, I'm layering. I've still got this kind of thing happening. So could you do it in blues? You could do it all kinds of different ways. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. Listen, if you're ready to take your guitar playing to the next level, then I'd like to invite you to go to GuitarZoom.com and sign up for a VIP membership, which gives you first access to my premium lessons each month, which are customized for your specific goals and skill level. Now, it's an awesome community of guitar players that love to play, have fun, and support each other's goals, and we'd love to have you join us. So go to GuitarZoom.com and sign up for VIP today.